Hey folks, Tim here from Rockout Videography again. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at one of the newer generation of guitar and bass headphone amplifiers. This one is in the affordable $30 to $40 range. We're going to talk about what makes these different from past models and versions and why you may want a headphone amp and what this one has to offer. Stick around. We're going to try to help you decide if this little headphone amp is the right choice for you. We already covered the history of guitar and bass headphone amps in our review of the cheap Joyo amp, but here's the short version. Tom Schultz from the band Boston added a headphone output to the Rockman in 1982. Vox came out with the amp plug in 2008 and started the mini headphone amp thing. I bought a Vox amp plug about 11 years ago, bought and reviewed the cheap Joyo headphone amp about a year ago, and mentioned that I might buy one of the newer models of a headphone amp that are out there. And here we are. I did buy one. So what makes this newer type of headphone amp different from older models? There are really three main differences. The first thing you notice is that the 1/4-inch plug rotates. This follows a design that we've been seeing with mini guitar wireless systems for some time now. The biggest improvements, however, are Bluetooth and a USB rechargeable battery. This is not the only design like this that is out there. There are others in this price range and higher, some with more features like drum beats. As I said, this one comes in at the affordable $30 to $40 range. There are actually several different companies that are selling this headphone amp. They all seem to be exactly the same, come in the same box or cloth bag, and sell for approximately the same price. They're even using some of the same photos on Amazon. The Camola version is actually using the Lekato branded box and bag picture. These things are obviously all being made by the same factory and are then rebranded and sold by several different sellers. Let's take a quick look at its features. Ours came from Amazon, shipped in a small box. The amp was packaged in another small box with graphics and included a small cloth bag, a 1-foot USB charging cable, and a 10-foot 3.5 millimeter TRS to 1/4-inch TRS cable. I'm not sure what they expect you to use this for, but I know what we're going to use it for. The unit came charged from the factory. We already talked about the rotating 1/4-inch plug. On the left side, there is a power pairing button and a mode button. Holding down the power pairing button will turn the unit on and put it into pairing mode. Connecting to the Bluetooth works exactly the way you expect it to. It will be listed as B6. The USB connectivity is a big bonus. It means no longer having to find the right adapter cable to get my phone's headphone output into a 3.5 millimeter aux input anymore. I can also set my phone down anywhere without worrying about the cable connection. Holding the power button down again will turn the unit off. The mode button switches between the 5 effect sounds. Clean is basically no effect. Then there are chorus, flange, metal, and wah. I'll show you what the effects sound like in a little bit. There is a sliding volume fader on the front that controls the volume output to your headphones. On the right side is the 3.5 millimeter headphone output and the USB mini connection for charging. It's not a data port and it's not USB-C, but it is connected to a rechargeable battery. One of the great features of these new designs is the rechargeable battery. What prompted me to finally buy this was when the AAA batteries in the Joyo amp died on me recently and I had to go digging around looking for replacements. Being able to recharge it like most of the other devices I use and no longer deal with batteries is a really nice feature. The 3.5 millimeter headphone output does exactly what you expect it to do. A couple of things to note. First of all, this is necessary because this amp does not send a Bluetooth signal to headphones. Maybe someday, but I don't think we're quite there yet as far as latency goes. I do remember people complaining about this in the reviews I read on some of these kinds of headphone amps with Bluetooth. Another complaint I remember seeing is that the headphone volume output is too low. I use Extreme Isolation EX29 headphones, so I don't have any issues. However, I tested this amp with a pair of my AKG HP40 headphones, which are closed back but nowhere near sound isolation, and the volume was more than loud enough. Unless you have really crappy headphones or are trying to play in a super noisy environment, or both, I think you should be fine. So why would you want to buy one of these in the first place? If your amp has an aux in and a headphone output, you don't really need this. Well, if your amp doesn't have those features, this is an affordable way to add quiet headphone practice to your routine. This may be a must-have if you live with other people like family or roommates, or near enough to other people like neighbors that playing through your amp will bother them. Because these little amps are so small and lightweight, it's easy to take them anywhere in your home to practice without having to move your amp. You can take them to a gig if you want to warm up before you play, and they are great to bring along to practice while traveling or on vacation. In case you brought a bass along and get stuck for a few hours in the hotel laundry room. That's all great, but what does this thing sound like and how are the effects? We can't show you what it'll sound like with your instrument through your headphones, but we can record the output into our DAW and sync it with some video. In fact, we're going to use the 10-foot cable that came along with the unit. Keep in mind, it's always best to listen to a bass player playing guitar with good headphones or speakers. The speaker in your phone just can't reproduce the sounds of my ridiculous guitar playing accurately, especially the low frequencies. This thing works great on bass. Clean isn't really clean, it sounds dirty, like getting an overdrive from a gain knob. Here's some picking with round wounds. Here's what it sounds like with flats on a jazz bass. Here's some of that ridiculous noob guitar playing. You can really hear the overdrive. The chorus is more overdrive with a sort of chorusy kind of reverb kind of thing. I'm not really into the flange effect. Metal brings you up into the distortion pedal high gain range. I kind of like the wah setting. It is what it is, but maybe I can do something with it. Can you record a song with this thing? Why would you want to do that? Because it's fun. Everything here went through the headphone amp using the 10-foot cable that came with it and straight into the interface. I recorded a drum loop using a free app on my phone through the Bluetooth connection. No EQ or other plugins were used. I just mixed it in Studio One dry and adjusted the volume of each track. Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, it must be.
People of Earth, please like and subscribe to the channels you watch on YouTube. The algorithm really likes it when you do that. You should also buy some nerdy music and sci-fi themed t-shirts from the Rockout Videography merch store.
That was cool.
At least it's not a hyperspace bypass announcement.
Oh, and one more thing. Your planet is being destroyed to make room for a hyperspace bypass.
I don't think the effects that come with this little thing are all that good, but it will do overdrive and distortion. They're at least useful. You can connect it to the end of your pedal board if you want. Just keep in mind the clean sound isn't really very clean. On bass, this isn't an issue. This little amp works great on bass, and it's my new daily practice amp. It will plug directly into any guitar or bass if you want to use it that way. It's small enough to fit in your pocket or a case or gig bag. I prefer to use these amps connected to a tuner pedal and have this DIY practice rig that we did an episode on that I keep them hooked up to most of the time. How long does the battery last and how long does it take to charge? I don't know. It's advertised as lasting for 8 hours. I haven't run out of juice yet, and I'm too lazy to do a test that might last around 8 hours. I have noticed that it will turn itself off at some point if left on and ignored. I haven't been tracking my time with it, but I must be getting close to 8 hours by now. Let us know if you use a mini headphone amp like this for practice, and if so, which one do you use? I think that if you don't care about the built-in effects, this is a great little headphone amp, especially for bass. The price is really good, but if better effects or more features are important to you, one of the more expensive options with more features would be a better choice. As usual, we want to thank everyone who has been supporting the channel by liking, subscribing, and commenting. The channel continues to grow because of amazing people like you. Until next time, have a great day.